In this video, I'm going to be showing you 5 easy tips to prepare your vehicle for the winter. The first tip for preparing your vehicle for the winter is probably the easiest. It's to allow your vehicle to sufficiently warm up when the weather is cold. When you have those freezing temperatures outside, it's crucial to allow the vehicle to warm up. I generally aim to allow the vehicle to run for at least 10 minutes before driving it, especially if it's sat all night. Allowing the vehicle to run is going to allow the oil that's settled in the bottom of the engine to make its way all the way back up to the top of the engine. If you start the vehicle and you just jump it in and go, the vehicle doesn't have time to move all that oil all the way back up and allow it to circulate around. In the instance where you are in a rush, I generally aim to allow the vehicle to at least run for a minute to 2 minutes. How you can tell that the vehicle's had enough time to circulate the oil around is I watch the RPM gauge here. So when I start the vehicle, you'll see it's going to start above 1. You'll see it start to flutter a little bit and it'll generally settle around 1 or just below. That's kind of indicating that the vehicle has had enough time to circulate some of the oil from the bottom up to the top of the engine and back down. As I start the vehicle, keep your eyes on the RPM gauge here. You'll be able to see when it drops below 1, and you'll also be able to hear sometimes on the engine when it's gone up and it drops itself back down. So as you see, the RPMs are fluttering a little bit. You can hear the engine running a little bit higher, and you see it starts to drop. You can now see the RPM is starting to settle just below the 1. This is indicating that a bit of the oil has made its way up and down. So if you are in a bit of a rush, you can drive at this point. But like I had mentioned, I generally aim in the cold weather to allow the vehicle to run for at least 10 minutes. Now that the vehicle's run for about 10 minutes, there's 2 clear indications on the dash that the vehicle is ready to be driven. Looking at the RPMs, you're closer to the 5 and 7 mark than the 1. This is letting you know the engine's warm and you're good to drive. Also checking the temperature gauge here. You're closer to the operating temperature now, so another indication that the vehicle is ready to be driven in the cold weather. Let's move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to switch over your washer fluid to winter rated washer fluid. This will be -30 or -45. The importance of doing this is to make sure that your washer fluid works when you need it, and also that it's not going to freeze in the lines or the pump, because this can cause damage. If you want to see how to fill up your washer fluid, check out my other video. Now that you've completed step 2 and you've filled the vehicle with the correct washer fluid for the winter, we're going to move on to step 3, checking the condition of your wiper blades. For this, you're going to want to lift up your wiper blades and inspect the rubber all the way around. Make sure there's no rips, tears, or cracking. For this specific vehicle, you've also got a third wiper here in the rear. So again, you're going to check the blade to make sure that the rubber is still good. Check out my other video where I show in depth how to actually change your wiper blades. Tip number 4 is to switch on your winter tires. that we've finished tip 4, installing the snow tires, we're going to move to the final step, checking your air pressure on all your tires. Now that we're on to the final step for preparing your vehicle for winter, we're going to check the tire pressure. For this vehicle, my winter tires have TPM sensors, so I'm going to use the GM TPM tool to reprogram those, and that's how I'm going to check my tire pressure. If your vehicle doesn't have sensors, I'll show you how to also check them manually. Now that I've completed reprogramming my TPMs, you can see that all 4 tires are set. If you'd like to learn how to do that, you can go check out my other video where I show in depth how to do a Chevy Equinox, a Pontiac Grand Prix, and a Cadillac XT5. So if your vehicle does not have TPMs in the rims, you'll need to use a tire gauge like this to check the tire pressure on all 4 tires. Check out my other video where I go in depth on how to check and refill your tires. This has been 5 easy tips to prepare your vehicle for winter. If you found this video useful or liked any of these tips, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.